Hello everyone, and welcome. I'm thrilled to have you here today. My name is Dr. S.K. Singh, and I'll be guiding you through this presentation on risk-based quality management, or QRM. Today, we'll explore how QRM can help improve quality processes by focusing on risks and prioritizing efforts. We'll cover the key concepts, practical applications, and benefits of implementing a risk-based approach in your organization. So, let's dive in and discover how QRM can make a difference in our quality management strategies. Let's start with the introduction to QRM. QRM stands for Quality Risk Management, and it's essentially a systematic process. It helps us assess, control, communicate, and review risks that might impact product quality. This approach is really at the core of modern pharmaceutical quality systems, ensuring we maintain high standards consistently. QRM is defined in the International Council for Harmonization Guideline Q9, R1, which provides a globally recognized framework for managing risks effectively. Now, moving on to the principles of QRM, as outlined in ICH Q9. The key idea here is that risk evaluation is based on scientific knowledge. We use scientific data and understanding to inform our decisions. Another important point is that the level of risk is directly linked to patient protection. Our ultimate goal is to safeguard patient safety and ensure product quality. At the heart of QRM is a core concept. Risk is calculated as the probability of an event happening multiplied by the severity of its potential impact. This means we focus on assessing both how likely something is to occur and how serious the consequences could be. Everything we do in QRM revolves around these principles, emphasizing a thorough, science-based approach to protect patients and ensure the highest quality of our products. Let's take a closer look at the QRM lifecycle, which is essential for managing risks effectively throughout the product lifecycle. It consists of 4 key steps: risk assessment, risk control, risk communication, and risk review. These steps are interconnected and form a continuous cycle that helps us identify and mitigate risks proactively. It's important to remember that this life cycle is integrated into our pharmaceutical quality system, or PQS, ensuring that risk management is a core part of our quality approach rather than a one-time activity. Now, focusing on the risk assessment process itself, it involves 3 main sub-steps: risk identification, risk analysis, and risk evaluation. First, we identify potential risks, then analyze their likelihood and impact, and finally evaluate whether they require action. This structured approach helps us make informed decisions and prioritize our efforts effectively, ultimately safeguarding product quality and patient safety. Let's start by talking about risk communication. This is all about sharing risk information effectively among all stakeholders involved: QA, QC, production, and regulatory teams. It's crucial that everyone is on the same page to ensure safety and compliance. Transparent documentation plays a key role here, making sure that all risk-related data is clear and accessible. For example, if there are deviations in the process, these are communicated through a CAPA system, which helps track and address these issues systematically. Moving on to risk control, this is about making decisions based on how acceptable the risks are. We generally have 2 main approaches. The first is risk reduction, where we take steps to lessen the risk, like using HEPA filtration to reduce contamination or automating processes to minimize human error. The second is risk acceptance, where we determine that some level of risk is tolerable given the circumstances. Both approaches are essential in maintaining quality and safety standards, and they connect directly with the overall goal of ensuring a reliable, safe production environment. Let's look at an example of applying FMEA in manufacturing, specifically in a scenario like tablet compression. When we talk about QRM tools and techniques, there are several that are commonly recommended by ICH Q9. These include FMEA, which stands for Failure Mode and Effects Analysis, as well as HACCP, or Hazard Analysis Critical Control Points, and Fault Tree Analysis, known as FTA. Additionally, risk ranking and filtering are important techniques we use to prioritize risks. The choice of which tool to use really depends on the complexity of the process we're analyzing. For simpler processes, a straightforward FMEA might be enough. But as complexity increases, more detailed tools like FTA might be necessary. The key is to select the right tool that will help us effectively identify and mitigate risks within our manufacturing process, aligning with our overall goal of ensuring product quality and patient safety. Now, let's look at how QRM, or quality risk management, plays a crucial role in regulatory submissions. One of the key aspects is providing risk-based justifications for various elements such as specifications, control strategies, and stability studies. For example, you might justify a reduced testing frequency by conducting a thorough risk assessment, demonstrating that the potential risks are low enough to warrant fewer tests without compromising quality. QRM isn't limited to GMP environments. It extends across the entire product lifecycle. This includes development phases, especially following guidelines like ICH-Q8, technology transfer activities, manufacturing processes, and even distribution. A practical example of this is temperature control during cold chain logistics. By applying risk assessment, companies can justify specific controls or reduced testing in areas where the risk of product degradation is low, ensuring both efficiency and compliance. Overall, integrating QRM into regulatory submissions helps streamline processes, justify decisions, and ultimately ensure product quality throughout its life cycle. Let's take a moment to discuss some of the common challenges we face when implementing QRM. One key issue is the subjectivity in risk scoring. This means that risk assessments can sometimes vary significantly depending on who is doing them, which can impact consistency and reliability. Another challenge is the lack of expertise. Without the right knowledge and training, it becomes difficult to apply QRM principles effectively, leading to gaps in our risk management processes. Poor documentation is also a critical problem. When risk assessments and decisions aren't properly recorded, it hampers our ability to review, improve, and demonstrate compliance with regulatory standards. Additionally, many organizations rely on over-complex tools that can be cumbersome to use and difficult to interpret. While these tools aim to provide detailed insights, they can sometimes create more confusion than clarity. It's important to note that regulatory inspections frequently cite weak QRM practices, often pointing out these very issues. Addressing these challenges is essential for strengthening our overall risk management framework and ensuring we meet compliance expectations. Let's take a look at the future trends shaping our field. First, we have QRM digitalization, which is about transforming quantitative risk management processes through digital tools. This allows for more efficient data handling and better decision-making. Next, integration with AI and ML is becoming increasingly important. These advanced technologies help us analyze complex data patterns and improve risk prediction accuracy. Finally, real-time risk monitoring is gaining traction, enabling us to keep a constant pulse on potential risks as they evolve. Altogether, these emerging trends are driving us toward a more agile and proactive approach to risk management, aligning perfectly with the overall goal of staying ahead in a rapidly changing environment. For further support, please contact us. If you have any questions or need additional assistance, don't hesitate to reach out. We're here to help you succeed. Thank you very much for your attention and participation today.